Hello and welcome to session 9 of my Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire Lorethrough. We are currently in the Queen's Berth district of Neketaka. We just dropped off a satchel to, I forget the name of the person we dropped it off to, but we just dropped off a satchel, which we got accosted for. There was something important in it, but he asked us not to open it, so we didn't know what that was. Okay, so couple things to start off today. One, going to start with a couple more sections of the Deadfire history from the Pillars of Eternity 2 guidebook. And then we have, as you might see in the lower left-hand corner, all of our party have leveled up, and it just showed us the words level up. I guess just to remind us there. So that will be the first things we do before we actually get started today. So we've read so far in the history of the Deadfire about the push of Grand Valia into the Deadfire and the setting up of the Valian Trading Company here. And the last thing we read was about how when Valia itself began to collapse, many people from Valia tried to join in with the Valian Trading Company and try to reap the benefits of that, but they were too late for it. There was already too many people there, and they became disillusioned with everything, and this was the beginnings. The people who did this, they started to turn to less savory ways to gain wealth, which was the beginnings of the Principi Sempiterna, which is the pirate faction. Here, we are going to start reading in 2742. AI, Dwarven Explorers Open Trade with the Huana, and it is in the game 2828, which means this was, I don't know, probably about, I don't know the exact math. It sounds like about 85 years ago from this game. And this is labeled Dwarven Explorers Open Trade with the Huana. As more Valians poured into the Deadfire, it became a priority to forge trade routes with the locals. Ships full of Dwarven explorers made port in an island and established Balefire Beacon, a stone lighthouse and defensive tower, as their permanent outpost. The dwarves held an uneasy alliance with the Huana as they learned to appreciate each other's resourcefulness. For a time, it seemed that the alliance would endure as one of the rare profitable and amicable trade deals made between foreigners and the tribes. Unfortunately, the dwarves arrived woefully unprepared for the wilder creatures which protected the isles, sea monsters, naga, and the undead. One day the tide shifted against the settlement's favor, discharging hundreds of coral naga onto the beaches. The creatures led a spirited assault on the dwarves of Balefire Beacon, which was doomed, but an effective test of their adversaries' endurance. As the settlers regrouped and bandaged their wounds, the night brought gulls and vampires from the undiscovered sea cave. Did I say gulls? I meant ghouls, like the undead ghouls. It seems that their home had risen against them all at once, eager to be rid of a foreign pest. The last survivors of the settlement boarded up their homes and left Balefire Beacon abandoned. None could say what happened to those who sailed away for the once promising outpost. The fires of the lighthouse, which were supposed to guide their compatriots, went cold, sending many travelers off course to uncertain fates. So it seems here the Dwarven tribe had tried to set up some kind of settlement in the Deadfire, but failed because they were not ready for all of the dangers. Next we have 2750 AI. This is the short section. The opening of Port Mage. Port Mage was the first town that we went to on the island when we were shipwrecked at the very beginning of the game. After relentlessly hammering at the Huana to accept their trade agreements, the Valian Republic succeeded in establishing their first permanent settlement, Port Mage. The colony staked its claim on the small island in the southern edge of the archipelago despite it being occupied by a Huana tribe. The outpost was modest by the standard of later installations, but the Valians regarded it with great significance for being the first major foothold in the region. The Republics would later use Port Mage as a waypoint for ships voyaging to more prosperous frontiers. Peace with the local tribe endured because the Huana did not fully grasp the foreigners' concept of land ownership, a pattern that would grow more evident as time passed and more islands were absorbed. So this idea, this foreign concept of land ownership with Valia, we have actually seen this play out in right to the north of us here on the screen right now is the Valian Trading Company headquarters. And there was, I forget the name, but there was someone from one of the Huana tribes who had made a deal with Valia, not understanding what the actual terms were. So it seemed like an agreeable trade agreement, but then I think is like once this person's grandfather died, they then owned the island. So the Valian Trading Company owned the island, and they just didn't know it. So they were kind of taking advantage of the Huana's misunderstanding of the treaty that they signed. I'm guessing there was a bunch of legalese in there, and that's, I think, a very relatable problem. Living in today's world, you see all these really long privacy agreements and those kinds of things before you can start playing a new game or downloading a new piece of software or something like that. And it's kind of a joke that nobody actually reads those. I'm sure some people read them, but it struck me as that kind of thing where it was just like a whole bunch of jargon that legally gave them the rights to what they were saying, but ethically was pretty shady. Okay, so let's level up to start. And do athletics and survival for Adair. I think I want to upgrade into the fray. The enemy's armor rating is significantly reduced. Allows the fighter to pull allies to safety if they choose. Let's do this one. Take more damage. I'll give him more fortitude defense. The archer. Mechanics and insight. Get some new cipher spells here. I'll take concentration as one of my things. And I'm looking for, I believe it's deception. Yeah. I forget my subclass, but it's good for deception spells. So I can Wild Leech, latches onto some characteristics of the target psyche and drains it, granting the same amount as a bonus to the cipher. Applies a random low-tier affliction to the enemy, or the cipher probes the mind and soul of the enemy target, finding the strengths of its defenses and stealing them for his own. I'm going to take that one. It's body attunement. Shodi, Arcana, and Religion. Ooh, here we go. No, she doesn't attack very often. I'm going to give her concentration as well. And going to give her devotions for the faithful. Invokes the benediction of a priest god, imbuing allies in the area of effect with accuracy and might bonuses, while enemies receive penalties to the same. Be a good way to start battles. Aloth. Explosives and metaphysics. I want to see if I can get him some bombs or something. That's why I have been doing that. I just keep forgetting, because it's not something I usually do. I am going to give him increased penetrations. Let's do it with fire attacks. I'm going to give him... maybe not fire attacks. Maybe I'll do lightning attacks. I have a couple lightning spells up here. And I think I want to give him Minoleta's concussive missiles. Fire several missiles of pure force at the target, causing a shockwave of crushing damage to foes close to the impact. And finally, Tekehu. He's already got... He's got good religion. Sure. And athletics. I'll keep him where he's going. I'm not really familiar with druids. I'm going to upgrade his Wild Strike Freeze so that I get even more additional freeze damage. When I'm Spirit Shifted, I can turn into a shark. And I'll give him a heal spell too, Moonwell. Channels lunar energy into a localized source of power, regenerating the health of allies in the area of effect and granting a minor bonus to all defenses. And that'll be it. Alright. So, we do have a few things that we can keep doing in Neketaka, so maybe we'll keep doing that. Now that we've leveled up... Oh, first I want to rest. But now that we've leveled up, maybe we'll see if we can take care of this group that's up here. They were too difficult for me to handle before, but I upgraded a few of my weapons. I have a thing where I can summon a dog to a battle, and we just leveled up, so maybe...
What can I do for you?
Maybe it will be a little better this time.
Hey, fish boy. What'd I tell you last time? You're not allowed in here.
I missed this because I wasn't expecting it. A deep frown cuts across his face the moment he spots Tekehu.
Takara, have we met?
Tekehu frowns, worrying one of his hairs.
Oh, have you forgotten our little altercation so soon? How convenient for you.
He levels Tekehu with a steely glare and begins to count off the man's indiscretions on his fingers.
Last you were here, you got drunk as a hagfish in a barrel of mead.
Why does that not surprise me?
Takara, at least one of us is amused.
Tekehu furrows his brow.
Then, when I refused to serve you any longer, you stole a bottle of my finest wine from behind the bar.
Say nothing.
Takara, how could I let you poison your clients? Ngati is not deigned to bless a drop of what passes through here.
You drank it all, then clambered onto the stage, pushed the dancer off, and serenaded the crowd with a sloppy rendition of my Wahaki.
I wonder if that's like my Sharona.
Clamber? These legs do not clamber.
Tekehu grits his teeth and points to his thighs.
Apologize.
I don't think this bartender has to apologize to Tekehu. But I feel like there's no option here for me to say, Tekehu, apologize, idiot. There is an intimidation for Gintel, the innkeeper. There is a kind of laugh it off response. You'll have to teach me that one later. Or I could say nothing. I wish I could say, Tekehu, it's your turn to apologize. I'm just going to say nothing.
Then, when I shoved you out the door and told you not to come back, you tried to kiss me.
Though he looks as if he's about to protest, Tekehu thinks twice and holds his silence.
Frankly, I'm surprised someone hasn't killed you yet.
Gintel plants his hands on his hips and does his best to loom over the large Aomawa man, though the effect is less than impressive. This one's on you, Tekehu. I'll say I'll vouch for him.
Then I suggest you keep an eye on the bill.
All right. But if he gets up to any more mischief, it's your purse on the line.
Takara, punish me appropriately if I misbehave.
I'll hold you to that, you slippery bastard.
Gintel turns away with a huff, faint blush coloring the tips of his ears. I just decided that I am not going to bring Tekehu around with me. I think he's a fan favorite. I have never liked him. I was going to give him a chance, but God, he's insufferable. So I just don't want to deal with him. All right. Show me what you have for sale.
Anything you like?
I wonder if I can... Yeah, I can get rid of him right now.
I have matters to attend to as well, you know.
I'm going to go back with Seraphim. Maybe Maya, though. Who should I do? I'll do Seraphim.
You in here with me feeling all maroon like?
Private dance room. Just for the bonuses, not for the dance. And Seraphim's got a level up as well. Need to do stealth and streetwise. Oh, he's got a bunch of upgrades for his barbaric yell or frenzy. Going to give a bleed to his frenzied attacks. And give him a knockdown effect to his barbaric roar. Now, let's see if I can find the quest for those people that are up in the north of this area. Nope. That's that. Where's that quest? Oh, here it is. The shipwright's plight. So I have to confront the alley thugs. This is for Zamar the shipwright, whose debts have left him vulnerable to a local pirate gang. And so we're seeking a way out of his troubles here. And that local pirate gang seemed pretty awful. So I don't think it's a bad thing that we will be taking them out. I wish there was some way to just kind of scare them, but I don't think that there is. Alright, here we go. Let's save it.
You the one causing trouble in Cotter's neighborhood?
The wolf at the man's side raises her hackles and growls. He shushes and pats her behind the ears, all the while keeping his focused, trained on you.
Tremaro's pup kept better company.
Kata glances at Seraphim. Sorry, I cut that one off.
Ahoy, friend. See you still be doing that old referring yourself by name thing? Would have thought it'd have cost you enough lays by now to be dropping that affectation.
Cotter has not missed the sound of your voice, Seraphim. Your smoke and mirror ghosts do not impress Kaletzia, and they do not scare Cotter.
A line of drool drips down between the wolf's barred teeth.
Sorry, Valian names all sound the same to me. Which one is the pretty wolf?
That was bared teeth, not barred teeth, by the way.
You'll know soon enough.
I wonder if I can scare him here. Smoke and mirrors? I think not. I can pull spirits from the in-between. Kata's eyes snap open the instant he grows aware of the many forms thronging through you. The moment passes as you dispel them from view.
Complanker. Kata does not doubt his eyes. What do you want?
He tugs his wolf's scruff and drags her back to his side. Oh, can I look at my... No, I can't look at my journal here. So I can ask him if he's the one shaking down Zamar, and I can ask if he robbed Captain Redora. Someone robbed Captain Redora. You have anything to do with that?
Depends. You seeking Vengiata for that house?
I would guess that was vengeance, and Vengiata means vengeance. Signaling to his mates, Kata tightens his grip on his wolf's scruff. She owed money to Zamar. Money I need back.
Kata heard a newcomer was talking with Zamar.
His free hand moves toward the weapon slung in his belt.
Wrong play, Cotter. Let's be keeping this as friendly fucking chats. Lest the captain be calling your raise.
His furred hands rest near his own weapons.
Look, Selezia. Your supper comes with blue fur.
He nudges the wolf, eliciting a deep growl.
Tell the shipwright to accept Kota's deal before he suffers another setback.
Let's ask Seraphim what he thinks.
You gotta ask, Cap. A Principe deal be the all-round winner?
Yorlin shrugs, running a furred hand over his braided beard.
Zamar gets himself steady work, the pirates know they're looked after, and you and me get to shove off from this mess with a Principe favour in our hold. Charting another course risks running us aground of everyone's bad side.
Better that you listen to the hairy piglet.
Kata nods, glancing from Seraphim to you.
Kata will see that his casita knows your name. There's also a coin to spare. Redora's coin. But she's too soused to miss it.
Kata chuckles to himself.
And Kata will get you the Principe discount on Zamar's goods. Deal?
I changed my mind.
Letting go of a good deal.
Just give me Captain Redora's money and I'll leave you alone.
The coin is gone, amico. Ale for Kata's friends and food for Kata's wolf. My casita gets the rest.
He pats Selezia's flank and smiles towards the rest of the gang. Why are you shaking down Zamar?
Sientere. Kata only plays nice with friends.
Alright, I guess I'll just attack.
Seletia, the throat!
Kata releases his wolf and points at you. The rest of his team takes up arms. Oh. Okay. Character's kind of far away here. Sucks. Oh, it doesn't know I'm in.
Rather difficult to concentrate. This is... Tile. That's friends. Stand together! Curses! That'll teach you.
That was much better this time.
No! The gunpowder!
What? Who just did that? It's a good thing I didn't blow up and kill Aloth. We got a ring of minor protection. Nothing else too special. So let's see what it says. The power thugs have been dealt with and they shouldn't bother Zamar any longer. Broken bottles litter the cobblestones of this narrow street. The air is thick with the reek of dog scat. Principe is probably not going to like this. Actually, let's see. Reputations, Principe -1, yeah. It's okay. I don't care about the Principe.
Ahoy there. Any news worth telling?
Principe won't be bothering you anymore.
Best news I've heard since I arrived on this rock.
Zamar lowers his hands. They shake like they don't know where they're going next. They go back up to his beard, this time less frenzied.
What of Captain Redora?
Zamar pulls the end of his mustache taut.
Has she sobered up yet? Or do we need to shake her by her ankles?
She was robbed. Don't hold it against her.
Robbed? Abaddon's fist!
Blinking, Zamar glances past you and swallows.
Someone's feeling bold to prey on a captain in Queen's Berth. Matters being what they are, Redora's commission is yours, if you can afford it.
Zamar smooths down his mustache and dislodges a small puff of sawdust. I might be interested in buying Redora's commission.
That'll be the Iron Thunderer. A cannon well deserved of her name.
Zamar beams with pride.
Maybe she doesn't stand up to Rawatai standards, but she's got heart. For 1,000 pyres, she'll crack a hull, scour a sail, or splinter a deck like an imp with something to prove.
This is my reward for helping you?
1,000 is plenty less than I offered the seasoned captain.
One of Zamar's bushy eyebrows rises over the other.
My hands are tied. Sorry.
Sure, I'll take it. We're not really going to go into like ship combat, like I said earlier. But I think this might be useful in for other reasons too, so I'll grab it.
You will? I mean, you will.
Why do you react like that? He snatches your hand and shakes it with 2 quick pumps.
Your vessel will spit fire like a worm with a belly full of fire kelp.
He snaps his fingers at one of his attendants and points at your ship. I got 4 Iron Thunderers, which are cannons. Oh, there's 4 of them. Okay, that's nice. Farewell. Okay. Anything else I want to do here? Let's... Alright, so we're in Queen's Berth. So we met the director of the Valian Trading Company. So let's head over there and continue that quest, see what they want. Although it's night. That's okay, we can just wait. What's in there? Okay, let's wait here till morning. So we met the director when we were speaking with Queen Onekaza. We met the director of the Valian Trading Company and the Hazanui of the Royal Deadfire Company. Oh, here's Pallegina.
Ado, Watcher. The Cantanichesi sent for me. It seems the Republics have need of me again, thanks to you.
It's difficult to read her expression. The corners of her mouth briefly twitch into a smile, but there is worry in her eyes.
Do you have need of me?
I'll always have need of you, Pallegina.
Good.
She nods sharply and steps forward. Oh. So... Ooh, Paladin Chanter. Sure. This always scares me. Multi-class characters are not recommended for new players. I know I'm not a new player, but I never really delved into multi-class before, so I'm not sure how it works. But that's okay, it's just one. If we do it poorly, then we just don't have to use her.
Farewell and fair winds to you.
At your service, Watcher.
Oh, and I gotta level her up too. Okay. I'll just pause it, and I'll try to remember the things that I got her. Okay, so I just leveled her from 1 to 7. One thing I noticed, because I multi-classed here, I think it's every other level, you get 2 points of skill. You get 2 skill points to use. And when you multi-class, like usually you just get to use those 2 points, but when you're multi-class, then you get 1 for one class and 1 for the other class. So when I only get 1 point, I can choose whether it's a paladin or chanter skill that I pick. And when I get 2 points, then I have to put 1 into a chanter skill and 1 into a paladin skill. So I'll just say that I spent time learning some chants for her. Chanters, when they chant, can provide buffs to the party, or can provide, they can debuff enemies. And also, the more you chant, like if you have 3 phrases chanted, you can cast a kind of spell, like a summon type spell usually, but it doesn't have to be a summon spell. And then with her paladin, I gave her auras that like constantly, actually the aura that heals is a chanter aura, but I gave her this Aegis of Loyalty, so when she downs an enemy, then I get buffs. Oh, that's not what Aegis of Loyalty is, but I did get one that when she downs an enemy, I get buffs. And this one, when she attacks a charmed, confused, or dominated party member, then the spell ends, which will be useful. So I think that's everything. Oh, and I spent her other points on Arcana and Diplomacy. Diplomacy especially, I feel like Pallegina fits that one.
Fall in on my position.
She's got a great sword. I gave her specialization with 2-handed weapons. I don't see anything to use right now. Oh well. I'll have to get one then. I mean, I could do one of these normal ones, but I was thinking like a fine. Okay. It's already fine. Okay. So Pallegina has returned to our party. So right now, 4 of my 5 party members are Pillars of Eternity 1 characters. I don't know if I'll keep Pallegina here, but we'll see. Nope. Maybe it's upstairs. Valiant Trading Company has a base operation in the Queen's Berth district. I'm going to speak with someone in charge. That's the place to start. So when does the director get here? Is it just too early? Let's wait. Nope. Huh. Thought he wanted us to come see him. I don't know if I read these before. Maybe I just read them and forgot to take them, but just in case. This note appears to have been quickly jammed into this bench as it's slightly crumpled. It's covered in what seems to be several failed attempts at amorous verse, including a few ill-advised rhymes for helm and sword. And this is The Light of Dawn, a Raid Saren Morality Play Part 2. Okay. Or I don't know, maybe I just never came up here before. Okay, so maybe we have to come back to see the director at some other point. Let's see if the Hazanui is at the Brass Citadel, like she said she would be. I wonder if I'm missing something obvious about that director there. Or maybe I just have to wait. Brass Citadel. Let's save first, just in case we get a random encounter. Is it the Fleet Master's office or Imperial Command? Let's go to Fleet Master's office. Nope, wrong one.
Just a moment, please. My favorite privateer. Clear.
Oh, this is the bounty guy. Okay, get up here, see if we can find the Hazanui. Ah, well, she's here. Okay. Hazanui is a Rautine term roughly equivalent to admiral. Hazanui Karu paces her desk, looking like a shark circling the shallows. She clenches a long, elegant pipe between her teeth, the smoke trailing an acrid wake behind her. She looks up when you enter and favors you with a brief nod of acknowledgement.
The former Lord of Cadnua, and one-time Terrifier of Harbor Masters. If dockside tales are to be believed.
She smiles briefly through the smoke.
You have not brought much good news of late.
Her pensive look returns.
So, in addition to pirates, profiteers, and slavers, the Deadfire has a vengeful god roaming its waters?
She bites down harder on her pipe. I need to learn more before we can speculate on his motives.
If your report is true, he's stumping port towns into craters. I don't much care why he's doing it. He must be stopped.
She halts, turning to face you. You're finally able to get a good look at her. She's not especially large for an Aomawa, but she carries her shoulders high. Her weathered face looks to have seen many storm-blown and sun-beaten days on deck, yet her eyes are sharp and keen. First, I need to find him.
And then you'll need resources.
She watches you, her eyes bright with calculation.
The Valians won't lift a finger if it isn't to snatch a coin, and the Huana will barely do that much.
Success in trade has been quite elusive for the Rauataians, but the bitterness suits you well.
No one takes charge to solve the big problems. But perhaps we could work together to our mutual benefit.
She takes the pipe in her left hand. As she does, you notice that her right is unusually still. What do you mean?
Look around. Deadfire's full of fertile, temperate islands. Except for Andra's mortar. It's largely free of rough weather.
She waves her right hand, and you notice again that her fingers remain strangely still. You realize it's an unusually fine prosthetic. Oh.
Yet much of it is uninhabited. Itinerant tribes drift between some of the islands, and smugglers and slavers cluster around the rest.
She shakes her head.
It's a waste. Imagine what this place could be, with well-guarded shipping routes. How many Rauataians we could feed with plantations here.
And if those shipping routes were controlled by the Rauataians, even more the better for her. I don't see how you're much different from the other powers here. A raspy laugh rattles from her chest.
The Valian Trading Company wants to leech every last coin they can from the Deadfire, no matter the eventual cost. They're little more than thieves.
Palagina's golden eyes begin rolling, but she catches herself by flicking her nicotine membranes out and back again.
The Principi are actual thieves, no matter their pretensions of nobility. And the Juana are happy to let them all pick away at their fractured empire. We're interested in building something here.
Pipe in hand, she gestures expansively. So, you're exploiting Deadfire for the sake of Rauatai.
That's a naive view. One our enemies are keen to promote.
She scowls, biting down on her pipe.
Rauatai's violent storms have shaped and hardened us as much as they have our homeland's rocky terrain. But it remains a difficult place to live. So, we rely on trade, and on plantations we've established here. And those developments also create a more stable, productive Deadfire.
She spreads both hands wide, as if that explains it. What's that have to do with me?
You've got a good head on your shoulders. Deadfire needs more of that. If you're chasing the god who's stomping this place into the ground, then we have a common goal. And if you're going to survive here, then you could use an ally.
A hint of a smile tugs her lips from tar-stained teeth. What do you have in mind?
The disaster at Hasango remains a key concern. We rely on the port there to ship food back to Rauatai.
She sucks on her pipe, hiding her worried expression behind a cloud of smoke.
That's on hold until you investigate. Short of that, there are other matters that demand attention. You've already spoken with Atsura. For now, I suggest you continue to work with him. I might have something for you later.
This must be a game board over here that, so one of the questions is what's the game board for, so I'm gonna ask that.
Hazatoa. Atsura and I usually have a game running, and this one's been going on for over a month and a half. Atsura's good at misdirection, but I've got a mind for the long game. You look like you've come with a purpose.
What happened to your hand? We learned that it was a prosthetic. She extends her arm, holding her prosthetic between you. It's an exquisite piece with reinforced joints in each of the fingers and a smooth, sanded finish. When she didn't say anything, I thought maybe she was insulted, but it seems like she's very proud of her prosthetic.
It happened a year into my first command. We were chasing pirates along Rawatai's south coast, and they landed a shot right next to our magazine. A lucky hit.
She's quiet for a moment.
I ran below. The fire was already spreading and making for our powder stores. I smothered what I could with my uniform, pulled the rest away with my own hands.
If you hadn't, you and your crew would probably have died. She nods.
We don't get to choose our challenges, do we? Just the way we meet them. There's a cost to every victory. And the win goes to those willing to make a sacrifice.
She considers the wooden hand, turning it in the light. You sense satisfaction in her gaze.
I'll bet you already know a thing or two about that. And if you don't, Deadfire will teach you soon enough.
Farewell. So it seems like they are board game fans. Alright, question here is, do I go back to the gullet in Delver's Row? Or do I head out?
Where are the walls? The artillery.
Back out to sea, or maybe explore this island that Neketaka is on.
Do not protect it.
Let's first explore this island. Weba Otengaloa. Moana tribes traditionally heap their dead into pyres or give their bodies to the deep sea, but mounds like these suggest that the wrongas of honor, wealth, and distinction were buried nearby. Huh. Let's plunder it. Some ingredients there. This means that it would be a difficult encounter over here. And that one even harder. So maybe we're not ready to go out here yet. Nomu the Marauder. Is that one of our bounties? I don't know. You notice a small pavilion containing a large weathered statue of stone a little ways off the path. It appears to be Hawana Schwarin. Search the surrounding area. The statue and surrounding area is clean and maintained. Locals likely visit the shrine frequently, but keep it that way. You look around, but don't see anyone nearby. Approach and try to identify it. The statue bears the shape of a nude woman with the head of a monstrous fish. It portrays Ngati, the Huana's rendition of Andra. An inscription runs along the shrine's base. The surf smooths stones, but also crushes them into sand. Meditate on your travels and rest. I could desecrate the shrine if I wanted to. Seated at the shrine, you steady your breathing and swallow your muscles to loosen. You organize your thoughts, setting them in order. When you stand, everything seems less perilous or more attainable. Did I get anything there? Alright, so this is going to be a fight. I think a fight that we'll be able to handle.
Could be trouble.
Could be a fight.
Can I summon something right now?
There's a one!
Wonder why they went after Aloth here.
Lava beyond seek.
Druid shapeshifted.
Didn't work.
Okay, that wasn't bad. Got a unique ring, Chameleon's Touch. Gives +1 to an attribute and skill determined by the user's class. This ring is an heirloom of an Adiran mercenary captain, the Motherless Curs. Never a prestigious group, the mercenaries were not overburdened with any sense of loyalty, honor, or fair play. Each member endlessly plotted against the current commander, often claiming the position with a dagger to the back. Assuming command, the trader would also acquire the ring as a symbol of rank. The ring was worn by fighters, barbarians, ciphers, and all other variety of people skilled in the art of violence. Each of them claimed the ring heightened their unique abilities with some sort of charm. It was last seen worn by Halion, a rogue operating in the Deerwood. It's notable that Halion had no known connection to the Curs. How he acquired the ring is unknown, but it is unlikely its former owner parted with it willingly, suggesting that he had killed the former owner, eventually was killed by Nomer the Marauder, and now killed by us. Fine armor, fine mace, fine hatchet.
I shall.
Is that it here? Looks like it. Equip the ring too. Oh. It's interesting. I changed the colors when I put it on. I think it was just a glitch, though. Oh, and this is a better mace. So I'm going to give that to him.
How nice.
That shrine was called the Teo Ramunga. A campsite here. Alright, now gonna go in here. Alright, so everything else is too difficult for us right now. Get back to Neketaka. Let's head to Pokokaharo. I think it said that we were... Oh, you're traveling the streets of Neketaka when you hear the familiar voice nearby. As you follow the winding streets of Neketaka, the usual city sounds of cartwheels against cobbles and shouting vendors fades, replaced by the cacophony of a heated argument on the verge of boiling water over. So before I say this, I know last episode I was talking about how it was frustrating that I kept getting accosted. I do think that that was just unlucky that I had one random encounter and then followed by an encounter that's going to happen on my way back to Queen's Berth no matter what. So it was frustrating, definitely, but I think it was just really unlucky of me as well. Because, and I want to say that because I do enjoy these random encounters. In Defiance Bay, it was definitely a big city, but you just went from district to district. There's only a few districts in Neketaka, like Defiance Bay, that you can travel between. But on your way there, other things can happen. So it just has a feeling that Neketaka is an actual city, and the parts that there aren't anything important, and you can kind of skip over those parts. But sometimes you run into somebody, or there will be a random encounter or something. So it makes the city seem like a cohesive whole, I think. And I really like that. I really appreciate that. All right. One of the voices rings familiar. Rum-Dum Regair from the Defiant. Oh, good. Is he in trouble? Sneak closer to observe. Failure. As you round the corner, you see Rum-Dum Regair surrounded by a group of unfamiliar soldiers. From their dress, you don't believe they're locals. They shout at Rum-Dum Regair, who returns to yelling with interest, though you can't make out the actual matter of the argument. One of the sailors shows Rum-Dum Regair against the wall, and the hand of another thug lingers dangerously near his weapon. Rum-Dum Regair's eyes meet yours and widen. Captain, thank the gods. I could use a hand here. Captain, the unfamiliar sailor scowls as she looks you over. You should teach your sailors better manners. This sodden fool got sick all over our boots. His compatriots nod, eyes searching you. Let's see. I'm sorry about my mate's behavior, but I can't let you make them unfit to serve. I don't suppose an apology would suffice. Oh, man. A perfectly reasonable way to resolve matters. Aloth looks brightly between aggrieved parties. Hey, success. The sailors look to one another and one nods. She looks to Rum-Dum Regair. Let's hear it. Rum-Dum Regair gives you a sad glance, then looks back at the woman. Sorry, ma'am. What was that? The other sailors snicker. Sorry, ma'am. The woman salutes you, then turns her heel. The sailors walk away. Rum-Dum Regair approaches you, grinning openly. Thanks, Captain. You truly saved me just now. Be more careful. Next time, I might not be there to save you. Yes, Captain. Rum-Dum Regair heads off towards the ship, whistling along the way. Where was I going again? Oh, I was leaving. All right. So first, let's make sure we have enough food up here. Also want to equip these cannons that I got from Zamar. That realm will give him a little bit of morale. Okay. So I said I wanted to go to Pokokahara. I think that's the next place. Yeah. Oh, this is for the Royal Deadfire Company. They want me to disrupt the luminous Adra. Why would I want to do that? Well, let's head up there and see. Oh, I wanted to ask where it was. Atsura didn't know the exact location of Pokokahara, but the inhabitants of Tikawara, an island southeast of Neketaka, might know the way. So let's head to Tikawara first, southeast. I was on a episode of Avowedcast recently, and I was talking about how much I love clearing the Fog of War, and they had asked me like what my favorite games were to clear the Fog of War in, and I mean, I'm playing this game right now. I totally forgot about Deadfire. I absolutely love clearing this map in Deadfire. It's just so satisfying, and I completely forgot about that. I don't know why. It's one of those things. Why did my morale go down? Okay, so this is a little difficult right now. Head back later.
When the to Undra in the deeps to guide them on their way. Those loving parting words that night re-echoed in her ear. Farewell, farewell, my own true love. This parting gives me pain. I'll be your own true guiding light when I return again. My thoughts shall be of you, when the storm is riding high. Farewell, my love, remember I'm your faithful sailor boy. But sad to say.
All right, so I know I've been quiet for a while, but that was an example of what might be my favorite thing about this game. I love the sea shanties that my sailors sing when the morale is high enough. I will often just pause on the boat or just sail around even though I saw a landing spot, just so I can hear them continue singing. I absolutely love them. So I just wanted to kind of pause there for a little. I won't do that every time they start singing. I'll probably just let it play as I'm actually sailing, but I won't pause it like I just did. But I wanted to for that first one because I don't know, this just so great for me. Okay, so we also ran into this. Well, we didn't run into the storm. There was, you might have seen a storm cloud on the way. I believe something could happen bad if I actually went into it, but we didn't because I didn't want something bad to happen. And then I also noticed that we already have Tikawara located on our map, so we'll head there after this one. This one seems like an unexplored isle that we're at right now. This is a ruined tower. The fragment of a fallen keep stands like a monument to ruin and a beacon for plunder. A narrow wooden tower rises high above you. Above the door, at its base, hangs a carved and painted mural of Amiri and Ngati. A mural of Amira and Ngati engaged in fierce battle. The tower lists heavily to the side, just a few feet from tumbling over entirely, and Amira and Ngati are Hylia and Andra. Got a spyglass. Whether being used to scout the shallows or determine friend from foe, spyglasses see common use throughout the Deadfire, where the magnification of a distant object can spell the difference between survival and a sunken ship. Often crafted of a combination of brass and wood, spyglasses are both lightweight and collapsible. Spyglasses allow you to view objects from land while on your ship, while also providing special options during many encounters in the world. Wonder if... Did it say I can equip that? Or is it just having it enough? Quill leaf? And that's it. That's all we can do here too. Where's the navigator? It's the helmsman. That's a deckhand. It's another deckhand. Maybe we don't have a navigator here? Oh, here we go. Okay, that's better. I was wondering why my morale went down before. Having only water, I guess, depletes my crew's morale. So I gave them some ramen, those kinds of things. Hopefully Move it back up. Here is Tikawara. But actually, let's just go around the island first. See what's here. And then we'll head into Tikawara. Trying to read this. Tekehu Island. Tekehu Islands. We got +1 morale here, so that was good. Alright, let's head into Tikawara. Alright, so here we have the chieftain's hut, communal storage hut, a Karu hut, and a cage. Oh, and there's a shrine up here as well. And a trading post. Okay.
A ship! I am saved!
Saved from what? This is Vector. The dwarf fans himself with a dish rag. His face is dark and shiny with exertion. Sweat colors wide crescents in his shirt. He looks at you like a drowning man would at dry land.
Weeks I've been stranded here. The Valiant Trading Company sends no one. Unless...
He squints at you, dabbing his brow feverishly with a corner of the rag. He swallows and aims a hopeful look at Palagina.
Diverus. The company's concerns are the Duke's concerns, which makes them my concerns. But saving your skin was not in my orders.
Then it is the will of gods and countrymen alike that I remain stranded.
Crestfallen, he raises a hand to his brow and looks out upon the open sea. This is because I am I'm from the White That Wends, which is very cold. I'm gonna say stuck on a balmy island with plenty of sun sounds terrible.
Ach, you understand.
He nods vigorously as the statement escapes him. With an anxious swallow, he glances over his shoulder at a sleepy, ramshackle village. His gaze darts from one grass-thatched roof to another, as if expecting some unspeakable horror to emerge. Follow his gaze to see what he's looking at. He isn't fixating on anything in particular, but his eyes widen with unease whenever one of the island Daomao draw near. He flinches and clears his throat. I wonder if he did something that made them mad at him.
I only tarry here because my shipmates went to Pococohara to search for Luminous Adra.
He brushes an insect off his sleeve.
I worry that Ruano, the local chieftain, gave Captain Bez and my crewmates a false lead.
He knots the rag in his hands, pulling it taut. Why would he do that?
Why would I go bobbing for reason in shark-infested waters?
He waves his rag like a handkerchief.
Ruano was the last to speak with the captain before she set sail. He squats in the hut northeast of that pitiful market.
He nods towards the gutted hull of a ship.
I would have joined her, but my stomach... something did not agree. Now it is weeks since they should have returned. I'm only the galley cook, not a search party.
He nurses his stomach and winces. Vector is an Avalian name.
Pargroon. My grandparents gave up their nomadic ways when they moved to the Republics.
Oh, it's a Pargrunan dwarf. Let's see what it says. A name denoting any of the nomadic tribes of the mountain dwarves. So I believe it was the Pargrunan that settled the... Oh. The name is escaping me right now. The Forge. Durgan's Battery and the White March DLC. So I wonder if he's a descendant of that tribe, or if they're just multiple different nomadic tribes.
But I see the appeal of staying in one place, one safe place.
He dabs at the back of his neck as he glances around. I'll keep an eye out. Maybe they found something interesting.
Agrasima, this is hope to my ears.
He sighs and bows stiffly.
Payment is assumed with the company. They are quick to buy what they do not have.
He nods, the first signs of relief showing his red-rimmed eyes. What has you so on edge?
When we landed on Tikawara, the chieftain gave us a welcome feast for the dukes. We feasted, danced, drank, and slept, only so we could feast, dance, and drink more.
The ghost of a smile flits across his face. What does it say about Tikawara? The village of Tikawara was recently founded by a small Huana tribe. Though the location has limited access to food, it is close to legendary Nguithan ruins known to Huana as Pogokahara. Okay.
Good to know your priorities were in proper order on company time.
Her dark eyelids droop over the golden eyes, glaring at the sweaty dwarf. I always forget how much of a company man Palagina is.
Tell it to the captain. It was all her idea.
He backs away, step, hands raised. You are awfully busy for a man claiming to be ill.
Per complancanet, music and ale are medicine for the soul.
He pats a hand over his heart and gives you a sheepish look.
Even so, they did nothing to soften Anaharu. He said we had come to rob and plunder. He and Nairi turned the villagers against us.
He wipes a fresh rivulet of sweat from his temple.
After that, we slept on the boat and took turns watching the shore. Except for me. I had to rest and recover, of course.
He coughs.
But in the early hours, our lookouts Ruano and Anaharu disappeared together.
Go on.
No one from the village approached us all day. And by the afternoon, only Ruano returned.
Alright, hang on a sec here. Okay, so when we landed on Tikawara, the chieftain gave us welcome, and then we feasted. Now, who is Anaharu? I don't know what these names are. Ruana is the local chieftain. Captain Betsa is his captain. And then we have this Anaharu here, but so it must have been other shipmates. Anaharu and Nairi turned the villagers against us. Somehow. I wonder if those are people we're going to meet. I don't know if they're shipmates or if they are villagers here. I'm thinking they're probably villagers. I said shipmates, but we're going to have to see. And then Ruana and Anaharu disappear together. So the chieftain and Anaharu disappear together. And that's it. And only Ruana returned.
Now no one here will even talk of Anaharu. Suspicious, no?
Perspiration gleams on his forehead.
Our captain was eager to leave before the winds changed again.
You mentioned Nairi?
The priestess. She imagines me in the jaws of our fish goddess. I know it.
He fans himself even more rapidly.
She lurks in the shrine next to that awful statue. I cannot stand her wicked looks, but if she does not scare you, then maybe you talk to her.
I need supplies.
The captain left all but the essentials with me. I have sustained myself trading with the villagers. Ekosi, but I'm almost out of ale.
He gives you a weak smile and shows off his wares. Okay. Oh, got some pry bars here. I'm going to take those. Pickaxes. Tinder. Grappling hook. I like those just for the scripted interactions. Asina's tricorn. A unique, I want to call it a helmet, hat. A sailor of alien descent, Asina the Gaunt, a moniker she earned for her unusually lean frame, came of age in the living lands. Raised among the ravenous beasts and carnivorous plants, the young dwarf took the arbalist and arquebus shortly after she learned to walk. By the time she went to sea, she was one of the quickest shots around with either. Of the arbalist and the arquebus, okay. The impulsive Asina soon fell in with a ship granted a letter of marque by the Valian Republics to counter Principe predation in the Deadfire. Though she earned her repute by the speed and accuracy of her shots, pirates around the region knew her almost as well for his hat, a sharp piece of headwear preserved with the fastidiousness born of knowledge that few things pose greater damage than equipment ill-maintained. It gives you minus 10% reload speed and plus 5 ranged accuracy. It's probably pretty good, but it's just a little too expensive for us right now. So it's just hardtack and water, which doesn't do anything for morale, so I'm going to hold off on purchasing anything. Oh, wait. I'll get these ones.
I must watch the supplies at the trading post. You will come to check on me, yes?
Right. Small fish, more bone than meat, dry in the rack. Their eyes are sunken, and their scales dull. Stealing, but there's nothing there.
It's a bad omen to have a priestess so young.
Age is no assurance of wisdom. Remember Anna?
Still your tongue. Amira's winds will surely carry your words.
Eggfish. Alright, there's a cage here with a bunch of Lagofoth in it. This is Tekehu.
Quit your chirp, full tides.
The fisherman lowers his head in greeting and wipes his hands on his sarong, which is mottled with fish guts. He doesn't meet your gaze. What can you tell me about Tikawara?
The high tide is stingy with fish, and the low tide even more so.
He points down to the beach to a lonely rack strung with few scrawny fish. Why are these Lagofoth caged?
Himwihi and the other Mataru found them when they explored the island.
He looks at the creatures with mingled trepidation and disgust. They bare their teeth in response, flies buzzing around their clouded gunky eyes and the dull patches on their scales.
Said maybe we train them to build. And if the soil and sea are misers here, then we eat them.
He shrugs, scratching his incurved belly. I missed the answer. Said maybe we train them to build, and if the soil and sea are misers here, then we eat them.
I do not believe I have ever experienced hunger so great that I would resort to eating Lagofoth.
A shiver sends a ripple through Palagina's feathers. He blinks at your companion impassively, glancing at the sea with an air of mild impatience. Farewell. This is woven from Kaora reeds. A hardy but flexible material, smelling of sea salt.
Oh, filthy lizards. Even here I always smell them.
I'm guessing she is talking about the Lagofoth over there. The woman stands outside a half-finished building, arms crossed, as if in protest of any shelter might offer. She looks like she's scowling, but the scars on her face make it hard to tell.
An outsider in Tikawara? Who are you, stranger?
Her hand strays toward a hide belt cinched about her waist. I'm Bjarter, captain of the Defiant.
A captain? If you had sailed downwind of the island, you would have moved on, I say.
Suggesting nobody wants to be here?
I tell Ranga Ruano that the stench of Tikawara will drive away friend and outsider alike. Do you smell it?
I'm a hunter. I can smell the air. 4 Lagofoth. Their odor suggests they're young, still hatchlings, and in distress.
The words of a skilled hunter.
She nods, impressed.
There is no food on this barren island that those monsters do not steal.
Her scars are like seams, tugging her face into a scowl.
Yeah, but how could you say no to those little faces?
There.
Always they circle our village looking for weaknesses.
She shakes her finger, making an argument she seems to have made many times before.
I push the cage with the young ones farther toward the beach, but I smell them even here.
It's no wonder they came here when the beach smells like a Lagofoth hatchery. That's hunter and survival.
Better to keep them under our thumb than sharpening blow darts, I say. A week ago, I tracked the fish to Hoina Ravine, so I challenged the Mataru to a hunting competition. My mother's belt for the brood mother's head.
Grinning, she thumbs the hide belt slung across her waist.
It is not every day that newcomers land on our beaches. What say you show me how outsiders deal with Lagufath?
You seem strong enough to handle a few Lagfath.
Akira, you are perceptive for being outside the tribe.
She nods, pursing her lips.
The Ranga orders us to defend his trading post. Otherwise, I would take up my spear. This is sorry work for Mataru, I say.
She folds her arms tighter, looking at the cobbled-together building as though she'd like to kick it down. A little competition sounds like fun.
Understand, they are animals. You must rely on blades, I say, not words. Hunting tales of our ancestors say the brood will scatter when their fish Ranga is killed. No need to chase the children if you cut the head from the mother.
She makes a sweeping motion across her neck. What are you doing with this shipwreck?
The Ranga wanted a trading post.
Oh, I was wondering what the shipwreck is. Their little post right here is made from a crashed ship. I love that. I didn't even see that. She glowers at the strange building, which appears to be part scaffolding and part shipwreck.
He said it will bring more Valians like the sweaty dwarf. Then they will bring food and supplies and their sweaty money.
A shiver of disgust ripples across her face. What's wrong with that?
Always I stand here. This is no job for the Mataru. We hunt, fight, and lead.
She paces next to the trading post, restless energy practically quivering through her arms and legs. So why aren't you hunting or fighting?
What is there to hunt on this heap of rock and moss? No game, only Lagofath skulking in Hoina Ravine. Even the antelope know there is no fit home. The grasses are thin and the trees are like a child's bones. Small and soft. Even to build this, we must hike up the mountain for wood.
She raps the side of the trading post with her knuckles. Oh, so we can buy? This is an inn, too. Okay, cool.
Am I a Kuaru? Do I dirty my fingers with coins 1,000 hands have touched? Never.
She spits.
Go see the sweaty one, the dwarf. He washes his hands sometimes.
Alright, so you can't buy from her. Let's see if she lets you rest.
You will never meet a more welcoming tribe.
She thrusts her face inches from yours and glares at you, as if daring you to disagree. It hasn't been very welcoming so far.
See? The villagers brawl for the honor of your visit.
Okay, so we can rest with her. We can hire people with her. So, Tikawara here seems like it's difficult to live here. There's not a lot of food, which it actually said that. And it seems like there's some kind of mystery here, too. There's a bunch of Lagafoth on the island, and the chief and I forget the name of the person went away, and only the chief returned. So there's something else going on beyond the scenes here. Oh, it's a grimoire.
Happily.
The fruits are small and underripe. Most are riddled with wormholes.
I could never eat a dwarf. For what?
Play along! I choose the belly, rich and fatty.
We are Raparu, you fools. We would only get the gristle between his toes.
So here you see the Raparo fishing. And as much as the caste system here is definitely lopsided, we had this woman, the Mataru, over here who said she's not going to sell to us because she doesn't deal with dirty money. She feels like she's supposed to be hunting. And we see the Raparo doing the fishing here. Even though that's definitely not equal, it seems the Raparo in these small villages have it much better off than the Raparo in the gullet of Neketaka, because they don't have the Valiant Trading Company and the Royal Deadfire Company there, like, doing all this trade with Huana. Then they here actually rely on the Raparo to catch the fish. So they, even though are not looked on as equals, they are at least respected and needed and a part of the tribe, where in Neketaka that doesn't really seem to be true. They just kind of left to linger and get sick and die down in the gullet and forgotten. in this place filled with garbage from the upper class.
Ruana was wise to bring us here. A year, and still foreigners never attack.
But our food dwindles. Better to die fighting than starving.
Also, those fishermen were talking about eating a dwarf. I don't know if that was a joke or if that's what they do. Maybe that chief left with the other person and they are like sacrificed to feed the tribe or something like that. So maybe that's the mystery. Cannibalism. This is woven from Kaora reeds, a hard but flexible material smelling of sea salt. I already did that. Well, I didn't do that one, but it's the same description.
The village starves, and you hide Kawiki fruit?
I hide nothing, you bloated pufferfish. Traitor! Gatti's jaws will close around you!
Okay, so this is Mukumu and Tamau. And Tamau is hanging from this post right here, seemingly having stolen some Kawiki fruit.
Confess, Tamau, or will you let good food rot?
A young warrior's forehead is furrowed with lines and beaded with perspiration. He stands over a man bound to a pole.
Does mine look like a full belly, idiot? Question the rest of the Raparu. We all hunger.
Every word of the bound man emerges as an agonized wheeze. He glares up at Mukumu.
Disgrace. Any other Raparu has worked 10 times in a day what you have in your life, and they do not complain.
A warrior pulls a dagger from his belt and thumbs the tip thoughtfully. Blinking, he turns to you wearing a bright, friendly smile.
Watcher, we can't just let this injustice stand. Do something, or I might.
Don't worry, I intend to.
You do? I mean, of course you do.
She grins, big and brassy, unable to hide her happiness with you.
I say, this outsider speaks her mind like a Mataru.
He touches his chin and looks over Shodi before focusing his attention back to you.
Another outsider. You visit Tikawara in hungry times.
Mukumu sighs through his nose.
For what do you make of this hagfish, huh? Will Tamao confess if I tighten the ropes?
I take it he's done something wrong.
Tekehu caught this wretch stealing the last of the Kawiki fruit. The tribe was to feast on it for a harvest ceremony.
I stole no Kawiki, but I wish I had. I would have hid it somewhere most unpleasant.
He bares his teeth in a defiant grin.
You hear this? A second chance we give, and Tamao throws it in our faces.
Mukumu holds the blade level with Tamao's heart. He's done this before.
Lied and stolen? Akira. When we have food, he takes more than he deserves. He steals baskets and pots, and even pilfered a spearhead from a warrior on the hunt.
Exasperated, Mukumu mops his brow with the back of his hand.
I say there is no person in Tikawara who he has not wronged in some way. Maybe no person in the Deadfire.
What is this Kawiki ceremony?
We would have eaten the last of the Kawiki as a tribe. This way we give our thanks to Kahopa, the eel of life.
His eyes go downcast. Kahopa. Okay, so this is another... Oh, that's one of the snakes. Okay. The eels, I'm sorry, that eat each other. That is a depiction of Berth. Okay.
Now this cannot happen. Our harvest fails because this one puts his empty stomach higher than the gods.
So because of my alchemy, did anyone think saving the seeds might be a good idea?
This is not done.
Mukumu furrows his brow at you.
To consume the fruit, seeds, and all. This is how we pray to Kahopa for bounty.
What say you, Tamao?
I say I deserve what others have in plenty. Shade, a full belly, a moment to kneel on cool sands.
He glares up at Mukumu. So it seems the theft, quote unquote, here was just a person from the Raparu caste eating more than they are granted. And it seems like he is very... I can't think of the word. He doesn't want to follow the rules of the caste system here.
We stopped being a tribe when Ruanu dragged us into the path of the outsiders. Now we can only save ourselves.
You shame us, Tamao. To return in your next life as a coconut crab would be too kind.
Mukumu stamps his foot, kicking up a flurry of dust. Would it make things better if I had some spare kuiki fruit on hand?
I say, missing food is not the problem. Tamao betrays the tribe, dishonors the Raparu, denies all of us Kahopa's mercy.
He winces, as if ashamed to even discuss it.
And he will surely wash back into our nets as a mudfish in the next life if he does not tell us where the Kawiki fruit is.
He raises his voice again, just to be certain Tamao hears it. So you have your guilty man. What's to be done?
Tekehu's word is enough to give Tamao over to the waves.
Mukumu faces the beach and touches his brow.
Better to drown as an innocent man than starve with you fools.
Tamao spits, but without the forward momentum, it just dribbles down his chin. Mukumu turns his gaze away, doing his best to ignore him.
Justice does not fill our stomachs or our hearts. It brings the gods no closer to ending this famine.
Mukumu's hand strays toward his stomach. He glances out to the horizon. I owe the gods a favor. Your kuiki is as good as found.
Akira, you would do this? I say, our Ranga will dedicate the Feast of the Last Kawiki to your name.
He claps you on the shoulder, leaving Tamao all but forgotten.
Until the Kawiki is found, I will delight in prodding this stubborn eel for answers.
He touches the point of his dagger, his lips spreading into a broad grin.
You are free to question him in your custom, I say. And Peheko, he tarries often by the beach.
Pronounce that wrong as Tekehu. Mukumu nods toward the shore. I'd like to know more about the village.
Then you must speak with the Ranga. His lodge is at the top of the hill, past the trading post. Nairi also knows much, but she is quiet ever since.
His eyes go wide as he catches himself. He clears his throat. Nairi, I think, is the priestess.
Nairi, she tends the shrine in the northwest part of town, near the statue of Ngati. Yes.
What do you do here?
I am a warrior, like most Mataru. Can you not tell?
He poses, standing tall and flipping his blade in his hand.
We have little reason to fight on Tikawara, except when the fishermen drink too much of the dwarf man's liquor. But these are only small fights, not like it was on the island we left before, when the pirates, the slave...
His expression goes slack. For several seconds, his widened eyes stare blankly into some remembered horror. After a moment, he snaps back. So it seems like there's some trauma from this tribe from a previous island they inhabited.
But what did I say? Tikawara does not give in abundance, but there are worse things, Akira.
Farewell.
At once.
Alright, let's just a hut. Oh, let's go in there. We have Rangi, some no-name people. Heta. Huh, she's got a name. For what does Rangi go out on the beach in the middle of the night? The Sao man seems lost in thought. This is Rangi. His clothes are neat and clean, but he's tugging on the fringe of a sash, which he's worried into a long, loose thread. He looks at you, his bleary eyes suddenly sharp and alert.
What say? You are new to Tikawara?
He nods, looking you up and down. Do you know anything about the missing kuiki fruit?
Only that Tamao has slept like a fat tortoise, while the rest of us chew on reeds to fool our bellies.
Rangi folds his arms.
Akira, no one could be less surprised. Tamao had this coming.
You don't seem particularly upset about it.
Guilty or no, Being tossed to the waves is what Tamao deserves. I have no tears for him.
Guilty or no? And this said it was a Karu hut, so he is of the middle caste.
He complained until the Ranga gave him my finest mats, and then left him out for the sport of beasts. Let the gods sort him.
Rangi's lips curl back, but he holds his composure steady. So even if Tamao is innocent, you don't care.
The tribe has challenges enough without Juana eating from each other's plates.
Flaring his nostrils, Rangi glances away from you.
You overstep for a stranger, an outsider. I say you should go back to the shore that welcomes you.
He turns away and says no more. Okay. This caste system in the Juana society seems to be the cause of a lot of drama and conflict. A seasoned Juana woman rests her elbow on the drum like it's the only thing keeping her upright. She pats the hide skin, the percussion no more effortful than a sigh. She opens her eyes as you approach. I'm Bjarter, captain of the Defiant. One of her eyebrows arches up with an unspoken question. She squints down at the dock and nods towards your boat. She touches her brow with 2 fingers. Then she gives the drum a pair of playful taps. That may have been an introduction. Do you know anything about the tribe's missing Quiki? Frowning, she sweeps her hand out to gesture at the entire village at once. She shrugs. Then her hand wanders towards her belly. She sighs through her nose. I mean, she obviously doesn't speak. I guess I'll ask that. Don't you speak? A deep, wrinkled scar traces a winding path down her neck. She tilts her head to the side and beckons you to look closer. The angle and shape looks like the marks of a boar's tusks, so she was attacked by a boar in the throat and she can't speak. She raises one finger and points down to a dried hoof, knotted to her belt. Then she makes a gesture of pulling back and releasing a bowstring several times in rapid succession. Grinning, she snaps her fingers and leans once more against the drum with a satisfied sigh. What do you do here? Let's tap on the surface of the drum first. You play a short, hesitant beat. She bites the inside of her cheek and considers drumming before a quick response with her knuckles. Then she beats harder, faster rhythm and steps back, grinning at you. Sure, let's play something together. She places a hand on her hip, skeptical as you start to build up a rhythm. Eventually, she bobs her head and smiles wider. She eases in closer, your shoulders touching, and beats in the drum fast enough to build tempo without outpacing you. Her rhythm response changes the tune, introducing complexity while keeping the spirit of the original alive. She closes her eyes and sways in place. The flow of her movements makes the beat look effortless, but her arms are constant blur. In the village below, her heads begin to bob. Furrowed brows momentarily relax. Finally, she breaks the rhythm and steps back, shaking out her arms and sucking in deep breaths. She tips her head to you, gratitude and recognition mingling with her exhaustion.
I'm right primed for another.
So I'm going to ask her what she does here. Exaggerating her movements, she shields her eyes and scans the horizon. Then she points off to the distance, kicks her legs with youthful glee, and pretends to pound on the drum with wild, enthusiastic beats. Shrugging, she lets her hands fall to her sides once again. Is she like a scout then, maybe? Farewell. That was nice. What was her name? Tiana. I don't know how I would be able to know her name, but still a nice interaction. Why does Wall's Wind have a... Oh, it's like a star fruit in there.
Welcome to Tikawara.
This is the Ruana. Now Mao huddles in close conversation with the warriors next to him. He whispers in a low, stern voice. No sooner do you catch his eye than he grins wide enough to stretch every muscle out in his face.
Greetings, friend. Always an honor to receive guests.
He inclines his head and touches his brow. Bjarter, captain of the Defiant, at your service.
I would shower you with the fruit of our harvest, but the season is unkind, I say. Pococahara is restless. Even from afar, the storms tear our bounty up by the root and chase fish to calmer shores.
He raises his hand to gesture to the east. His hand falls limply to his side. Tikawara doesn't look so bad off.
Akira, but the land is stubborn, and Nagati sheds her tears to the east.
He sighs.
The Valians went to Pococahara for luminous Ardra, but their expedition does not return. As the storms grow wild, Tikawara dies around us. No traveler will land here if they are forced to eat their belts, I say.
He absently presses his knuckles, worrying the blood from his fingers. I have some history with old places that cause storms. I'll take a look. His eyes widen a little. The smile that creases his face seems, for the moment, genuine.
Here. This was a token passed down from the Rankas, said to come from Pococahara in brighter days.
He passes you a heavy length of copper shaped in a spiral. So this is a copper Muzuma shell key. You see the shell here and then the actual, I don't know, spokes of the key? I don't know what those are called. This piece of elegant craftswork is copper representation of Muzuma shell. Oh, so it's made of copper, the whole thing. It's not an actual shell. A corpse-eating snail that thrives in the waters of the Deadfire archipelago. Scratch marks and the green patina only hint at the age of this piece. Thank you, Ruana.
If you need aid, Himarihi's warriors need only someone to bark commands and they will go.
He raises his fingers to his brow once more. Tell me about your tribe.
Our village here is young still, but we will grow when the Valians come.
So they want the Valians to come back, even though there was some kind of conflict with them.
That is for what we build many houses now, even a trading post.
He beams with pride.
We make Tikawara pleasing to the Valians. Then when they come for Pococahara, they build their harbor here. They must.
He clears his throat. We make Tikawara pleasing to the Valians, so they want the Valians to come. You don't seem to mind the Valian influence here.
Some tribes push foreigners away, but it is good to have powerful friends.
A frown briefly clouds his expression.
We got plenty of those. Ours are holding our lives ransom and playing us against their enemies.
If the Valians come, they will build an outpost here in Tikawara.
His gaze unfocuses like he's convincing himself of every word.
And then we will have more to trade with outsiders than just Rongi's mats. With coin comes protection, friendship.
He nods vigorously.
A favorable arrangement for both sides, I say.
It doesn't seem like you have enough to support that many people.
You sure you want to question that? I mean, we never get nice ones like this.
Then we buy what we do not grow. Soon our pockets will drag behind us with foreign coin.
He blinks at you and clears his throat.
I say that in Tikawara there is always a spot around the fire and...
A gurgle reverberates from his stomach of the guard standing next to Ruana. He grimaces and places his hands over his belly as if to muffle a sound. The Ranga shoots him a withering glare. I guess he doesn't want us to know that people are hungry?
And a koiki in every hand.
When he turns back to you, he's all wide smiles and pleasantries again. Back to my previous questions?
Speak on, friend.
I had questions about Pococahara.
Wind and sorrow are all that emerge from the ruins. Never answers.
How is Pococahara causing storms?
You are new to the islands. I would not expect you to know of these things. Our ancestors told of luminous Ardra, the bones of the Deadfire, breaching through the sands of Pococahara. Ngati raises her watery fist in defense of the Ardra. Valian or Huana, it is nothing to her who suffers in the wake of such anger.
Ngati raises her watery fist in defense. Oh, so they think the storms are Ngati or Andra protecting the luminous Atra. At the implication of divine providence, Palagina's right eye twitches in annoyance, the membrane flicking out and back. Fighting against it, she forces a weak smile and nods politely. Cocking his head to the side, Ruana mirrors the gesture with a full smile. He seems to be puzzling out Palagina's reaction. I don't know how this is a clever response, but it's a metaphysical response as well. Beyond the storms, is there any danger?
Ikira, we paddle our canoes the long way around Pokokahara for a reason, I say. Another people lived among our ancestors and built a temple in the desert. Now there is only death.
Now that does tend to follow the Ingwithins.
But the Valians close their ears to my warning.
He shrugs, glancing away. Why not move the tribe elsewhere? I'm sorry. I totally missed what he just said there. Mine's in a different place, I guess. We paddle our canoes the long way around Pokokahara for a reason. Another people lived among our ancestors and built a temple in the desert. Now there is only death. Suggesting that there's some kind of Ingwithin ruin here that they're afraid of? Why not move the tribe elsewhere?
In our old villages, we were raided by pirates, stolen by slavers, and killed by Rawatayan scouts.
His head droops further with each admission, as if their acknowledgement diminishes him personally.
So I brought them here, where the soil is too poor for koiki fruit and the water's too shallow for great fish.
So they moved here because there was nothing here that would make an invading force want to take anything from them. But that also means they don't have much.
At least we are in the path of Valian traders as they come and go. This is protection, prosperity, a future.
He nods, resolute in the idea. It is highly unusual for Atra to impact its environments as you describe.
Maybe that is for what the Valians find it so fascinating.
Ruana scratches his head and shrugs. That was in response to the storms that happen.
Their captain brushed off my tails like the buzzing of gnats.
Back to my other questions.
Speak on, friend. What say?
Farewell. The wood is smooth under your hand. The totem looks to have been carved and painted recently.
Just a moment. It's no trouble.
The many rips in this worn old banner have been lovingly stitched back together. Alright, so we still need to go to the shrine over here. So let's do that. No. Here's the statue of Andra that people have been talking about. The statue depicts a voluptuous woman with the head of an anglerfish. The paint is thick, as if freshly applied. The bell's reliefs have been worn smooth in some places and crusted with patina in others.
Amir's winds blow bitter today, outsider.
Ship's log of the Tempest Turn. An excerpt from the Journal of Norin, former first mate of the Tempest Turn. It reeks of stale liquor and white leaf smoke. Day 286. I think I've read this before. Yep, I read this one before. Okay.
Happily.
This looks like a smaller, older version of the statue outside. The wood is smooth and mottled with water damage. This is Nairi. This woman is young, but her serious manner makes her look much older, her nose and ears pierced in several places, and her mouth is twisted in a scowl.
More outlanders. Are your masters so desperate that they send you to plunder a starving village?
I think we got off on the wrong foot. Bjarter, captain of the Defiant.
For what do you say this? To impress me? You are no different from the last ones who came through.
She shakes her head, scowling. Much different response to outsiders than the Ranga.
Outlanders conquer us with ink and paper packs as well as blades. But they conquer us all the same.
So again here, this idea that Valians come, make you sign a paper and take things from you through obfuscation, basically. I'm not here to conquer anyone.
Akira, that is what the last bunch said.
She crosses her arms and glares.
Ruanu. He collaborates with the bottom feeders who went to Pokokahara for Adra riches. I warned the Valians about Pokokahara, but why listen to the ignorant Huana girl? Now I remain. They are gone. Taken by the curse.
The promise of wealth is quite a motivator, isn't it?
Akira, and it blinded the Valians as they sailed to their doom. Those who make for Pokokahara are devoured by Nagati, the trickster of the seas.
Her hand strays to a coral crescent on her neck. It's pitted with age and it looks older than her.
Forgive me for saying, but I ain't afraid of your goddess. I got a divine purpose, and so blessed protection from my god.
How comforted these outsiders must feel when they lie to themselves as well.
As though they care what happens to any of us. Percam Blanca. You are young, but not so young to be this naive.
Shodi flicks her sickle back and forth, agitated.
We have cause to respect the gods in the Deadfire, daughter of Amira.
She places special emphasis on the last phrase. I don't think I mentioned this. I did in the first game, but Pallegina is a avian godlike, meaning that she is a godlike, one of Hylia's godlikes, or in this case, Amira's godlikes, same god.
Dark clouds surround Pokokahara, and in my dreams, they swallow us all.
She looks at the statue next to her, her eyes bright with intensity. It's a good speech, and it sounds like one she's rehearsed a little too carefully. My insight allows me to realize that. If the island is cursed, whoever lived to tell of it? She sighs deeply, her bony shoulders rising like a vulture's wings.
We tell these stories not because they happen just so. We tell them for what they mean. Our Rangosphere makes him too trusting. He believes the Valiant traders will protect us if they settle here and mine Pokokahara.
She closes her eyes and shakes her head.
They will. It is what the company has done throughout the Eastern Reach. Why not here?
So the villagers pour their sweat into the sand, building a trading post on a barren island.
What do you think will happen?
If more Valians come? Akira, the same thing that has happened with every other foreigner.
She waves a gangly arm in the air.
They will kill us, rob us, enslave us. And we will be too busy building their halls and sweeping their docks to fight.
She bites her lip in a bitter frown.
If you go to Pokokahara, I say the best thing is to destroy it for the tribe.
Her brow raises sharply as she studies your reaction.
It's always destroy. It's never renovate.
When the Adra is gone, the Valians will dig somewhere else, leaving us to point our canoes toward more welcoming shores.
So that's what she's worried about. Yes, the Valians may provide riches in the short term, but once they're done, then all of a sudden we'll be back to what they have now. How do you expect me to destroy Luminous Adra?
If I knew, then I would go myself. Anything that is built can surely be destroyed, Akira. And the storms are proof of powerful magic at work. Dispel this magic, banish it, whatever needs doing.
She brushes off her palms. I'll consider it.
I hope so. And we did not speak of this, Akira?
She nods, but her eyes are still narrowed in caution. I hear that Anaharu also had problems with outsiders. She winces as you speak the name. One hand strays to the coral crescent pendant. She forces it back down, pinning her hand beneath her folded arms.
Anaharu was the tribe's priest before me. And he was my father. Before he challenged Ruanu to a trial of waves.
I think Anaharu is the person who went out with Ruana and did not return. She sighs and takes hold of the pendant, gripping it with a tight fist.
But he was cast off. We are forbidden to speak of him.
Tell me about the trial of waves.
When there is an argument between leaders that cannot be answered, we turn to Nagati. 2 challengers risk violent currents, beasts from the deep, and waves that would dash them against the rocks. The winner, if there is one, has Nagati's favor. The loser, living or dead, is forgotten by Nagati and the tribe.
Gaze turns downcast. Why did Anaharu challenge Ruana to the trial of waves? So before I ask that, I'm going to assume here, I was saying this tribe is hungry. Maybe they're taking people out and killing them so that the rest of the tribe can have food. Not going to say that's not happening right now, but it seems like this trip that they took was this trial of waves here, and that's why he didn't come back. They had some kind of disagreement on how to treat the Valians, and because of that, they did this trial of waves, but we'll see. So why did Anaharu challenge Ruana to a trial of waves?
My father knew the traders are as dangerous as pirates and slavers, perhaps more, because they grow strong in Neketaka.
Her mouth becomes a hard line. Her eyes, for a moment, look distant. Dead.
So, when the expedition came, he begged Ruana to send them away and move the tribe to another island.
Her knobby knuckles pale as she squeezes the pendant.
Ruanu? He did not listen. And Anaharu was done talking.
What does it mean to be cast off?
It means the tribe must forget him. The Ranga divided his possessions among the other Mataru, and now we do not speak of him.
She swallows, still looking away.
Anaharu goes to his next life. But, forgotten, he goes to a different tribe.
She hangs her head. You don't seem to think much of Ruanu's leadership.
He is our Ranga. My own great-aunt looked into his soul and declared him such.
Even as she says this, she hesitates, one hand clenching in a fist at her side.
I must respect him, even as he builds a village for our enemies.
Have you tried reasoning with him?
Akira, I have, and so did Anna.
She breaks off, looking down and frowning. She's supposed to get her father.
Anaharu. I must learn to stop saying his name.
Are you the priestess of this tribe? She nods, one finger brushing the crescent pendant on her neck.
We worship the same gods as the foreigners, but sometimes with different names. This is Nagati, the trickster of the seas.
She points to the wooden statue. It's as smooth as an old piece of driftwood, and the sun-bleached and water-stained patches suggest years of travel from one village to the next.
You worship Gon same as I do, at least in Neketaka. But I'll admit I've never called Andra Ngati.
Palagina shakes her head and adjusts her clothing.
Foreigners know her as Andra. To us, there is no difference.
Farewell. So I think that's it for our exploration of Tikawara, but there is some place to go outside of here. So let's see what's there. Tikawara, leave by foot. Oh, wait a second. So Tikawara, I love these little cards here. Population 64. Religions Andra and Hylia. They call them Ngati and Amira. No imports or exports. They are tribal castes. The ruler is Rangawana. They are almost completely Island Almawa, 99%, and 1% Mountain Dwarf. I wonder if they consider that dwarf that we ran into on the docks a member of their tribe, and that's the 1% there. Oh, whoops. Alright. Looks like there's a bunch of different places to go in with conflict. Something about the curve of the path ahead of you gives you pause. With the obscured sightlines, you recognize this is a good site for an ambush. At the same time, you don't hear anything out of the ordinary. Actually, you don't hear anything at all. No hum of insects, no rustling of animals, even the air has stilled. Investigate your surroundings. As you move carefully forward, you spot a massive Logofoth slinking through the wild growth. Even crouched, the wilder towers among the tropical trees, and it wears a bleached skull on its head. Sneak closer to observe. Didn't think so. With a gargled yelp, the wilder abandons any attempt at subtlety and leaps to attack.
This is futile.
Oh, jeez. This is a skulking terror, and it will be difficult.
It is no use. I cannot get through.
That's right.
Oh. I didn't think that would go well, but it did. That was, oh. They had a fine club, a fish, and a hagfish. Skulking terror.
Gladly.
It isn't always easy to judge who fought or why, but what belongings the dead leave behind is a legacy anyone can claim. It's an old battleground. Some currency. Nothing, and that's it. Bohica Pass. Bohica Pass. The rumbling reaches your ears first, a low growl from the land before being pierced by the cry of a distant bird. The ground sets to vibrating beneath your feet and the growing roar of the stampeding beasts echoing around you. You crest a rise to find that a stampede has passed, now only rumbling cloud in the distance. As the dust settles, you note that a few of the boar remain, fallen and still, with large feathered darts protruding from their fur. A single upright boar remains, a piglet that nudges its snout against one of the prone beasts. A single upright boar remains, a piglet that nudges its snout against one of the prone beasts. Wait and watch. Your vantage on the high ground offers a comfortable view of the boars. After a few minutes, lanky four-armed figures lope out of the cover of the trees, each padding around the boars on the ground. The fish-headed wilder gurgle and hiss at one another before crouching to feast on their catch. The boars, still living, squeal pitifully in protest. Let's attack them. You creep forward, drawing your weapon. It's a Logofoth mage.
Indeed.
Oh, that was boar meat.
Look.
Stand together!
Of course.
Sorry, friend.
This is Chief Echoing Strike and a Logofoth Sidewinder. Might not go well, but let's see. Oh, I can only use that once per rest.
Sorry, friend. You can't.
I don't know about these difficulty notifiers. Maybe it's just because in Neketaka I was fighting a group of like 6 different people, but like there were a couple fights I had there that didn't have any difficulty modifier, which meant this should have been fine. That gave me a lot of trouble. And then I just fought the Skulking Terror, who was red, meaning it should have been out of my reach, and then fought 2 who were 2 levels above me, 2 Logofoth who were 2 levels above me, and they were perfectly fine. So don't really know how that works. Got a Ring of Overseeing and a fine Warhammer.
Of course.
Tusks. And that's it there. Ohina Ravine. Got some medical supplies for our ship. Alright, so that looks like a more, what's the word? In-depth dungeon. This one, Ohina Ravine. This one seems a little bit smaller, so I think we'll go there next. Yeah, let's do that now. The scent comes upon you gradually as you travel. It smells of the kitchens of Katanua, of honey, cinnamon, and fresh bread, of meals shared with those now absent. Off the path you catch a glimmer of movement. Something large and bulbous stirs beyond the trees. I'm going to return the way I came, just to save. Do that again. Sneak closer and observe. Failure. Near the center of the nearby clearing stands a Delemgan. tending to a large spore. The Delemgan seems formed of living tropics with vibrant flowers cresting her head. Her shape suggests that of an elf, replete with pointed ears. A Delemgan looks up at you. Oh, the Delemgan looks up at you as you enter the clearing, eyes widening slightly as she takes you in. She takes a few steps to the side before reaching a protective hand to rest upon the large spore. Her attention remains on you. Like the cub that knows no better, you tread where others fear. Her voice rumbles like a fallen tree limb. Tell us why. Examine the spore. The bulbous fungus towers taller than an aumaua, its fleshy fronds hanging over a bulging stalk. A miasma of yellow dust hangs around it, gently stirring in the light breeze. A dank spore. You can barely make out the recumbent form of some unfortunate kith tangled in its roots. The essence of the spore sucks from its victim, glimmering along its length. If it notices you, it will likely attack, and inhaling the spores clouding around it could confuse your senses. All of these are kind of silly responses. There's an intimidation response, just attack them. And then 2, you're pretty demanding for a tree, or what's a fine lady like yourself doing in a dark wood like this? I don't like any of these. I'll just say, are you in trouble? Do you need help? She says nothing for the moment, her head tilting to the side. Why do you ask this? Do you think we fear the spore? She smiles and brushes a hand along the spore's fronds. We have nothing to fear here. Drawn by the scent, were you? Her voice sounds like the whispers of wind through the leaves. We do not know why this stubborn spore does that. He has rooted his meal. The spore shudders slightly, and you notice a thick tome tucked among its roots. Yes, it smells amazing. She draws a mushroom cap from somewhere within her. We offer a gift, that we may part in peace, that you may preserve the sanctity of this place. Yeah, I don't think I want to eat that mushroom. Throw it to the ground. The Delemgan's head cants slightly to the side, not unlike a bird's. She doesn't blink, but her attention drops the mushroom and returns to you. The leaves of the forest begin to rustle around you. Alright, let's try and intimidate. Back off, you yellow leaf bastards, or I'll turn you into firewood. Jeez. It's not something Bjarta would say. But I don't know, maybe he's scared enough to say it now, so we'll say that. No. The word seems to come from all around you as a breeze stirs and leaves. The Delemgan straightens, its wooden lips parting into a curl. We will not leave you to despoil this place. Oh. This one might not go very well.
Thinks you got the decent.
If I can dominate someone. Ooh, I got the Delemgan, hell yeah.
Hey, watch it with that.
As you wish.
That dog won't.
Not to alarm you, but I'm slowly dying of poison.
Hey, are you playing?
It's no use.
That's it!
Darkness flows and the light wanes.
Yes.
Pretty well. Got onyx. I think I've read this before. And primal rock. A chiseled portion of rock, slate gray and pocked with gleaming minerals. When set on the ground, it floats a small distance above the earth. And awakened wood. This irregular chunk of wood seems to hold a trace of life within it. You got a spore-coated grimoire. That was the book that we saw. So this dank spore was feeding on some person that came by.
At once.
Scoria and primal rock.
Indeed.
Okay, that's it for there. Alien Trading Company ship. While wandering the Deadfire countryside, you stumble upon a site used frequently for ritual cremations. Beside the flat expanse of earth where a pyre might have been, sits a small crypt full of beautiful baskets containing cremated remains. Alright. You got a medium shield. Got Mother of Pearl. Mother of Pearl can be scraped from the outer layers of pearls, though it is most commonly harvested from the shells of some clams and sea snails. It is prized for its subtle iridescence, and is often used to create jewelry or as an inlay for wooden furniture and instruments. A battle axe. Scroll of Withdraw. Baby pearls. And that's it. Okay, so that leaves us with only Hohina Ravine on this island here. But we will head there to start the next one. I would also like the next one to read a few of the bestiary entries for Lagafoth, definitely for Dilemgans. And there might have been something else there that we fought. Maybe the Earth Blight, although I'm not sure if we fought Blights before and if there's just a single entry for Blights. But that will be at the start of the next session. And we'll also go into Hohina Ravine here. So, as always, thank you for joining me. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments or clarifications, suggestions, those kinds of things. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope to see you next time for more sentences and paragraphs. Thanks, everybody. Bye.